This is a Suboptimal podcast. Check out our suboptimal content at suboptimal.co.
All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 15 of 2.5 Weebs. This week we're discussing Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yeah, that's the one.
And we have 2 episodes of Kitsune to cover. We missed a week. I had car problems last week, so we weren't able to record. Everything's been fixed.
Tell me about the car problems.
So my battery died. I replaced the battery because the battery came back as it was bad. So I bought a new battery. Everything was hunky-dory for a few days, and then I let my car sit for a couple days because I didn't go anywhere on Saturday. And then it was dead again. Lo and behold, I figured out after taking the old battery to the place, and they were like, this is like super dead. So they warrantied out my battery, gave me a new battery. I took it and got the alternator tested for the second time, and they were like, everything's fine. I noticed on my way home, my rear windshield wiper didn't work. It shorted and drained my car battery. So as long as I ran it long enough for the alternator to recharge the battery, it was fine. And then if I didn't, the windshield wiper shorting out kept draining it. So I unplugged that connector so it no longer is plugged in anymore, so it can't short out. So now we're good.
Also, I just want to point out, I didn't want to listen to that. I didn't want to listen to that because I like listening to him suffer, but because I had car troubles with my battery a couple weeks ago, and it was very infuriating. And now there's someone that I can empathize with, and actually, it feels good.
You know what? My car's been sitting for a couple days now. I'm sure it's fine. Everything's probably fine.
See, worried. that's how they get you.
You're worried. I'm not. I'm not worried. Yes.
I like the paranoia that Comfy has. Like, that's how they get you.
Am I wrong? That's how they get you. It's a trick. It's all an elaborate ruse.
Well, I have a car appointment tomorrow because I need to get my tires changed. It's finally not winter here.
That's how they get you. Is it like, so is it not snowing for you?
It's finally not snowing anymore, like at random points anymore, which is great. So spring has actually started, which is I think always an iffy thing in Canada.
I think like Rolla and Fish both had snow.
Yeah, they did.
Like in May.
Yeah, that's why as I said, it's iffy. It's like there are random times.
They don't live like super far north though. That's the thing that like got me.
Okay, here's the thing. I used to live, when I was growing up, I lived all over. One of the places I lived was Manitoba. Manitoba is 2 provinces over from where they're at. It's still in the prairies. I lived about 2 hours from Winnipeg. So Winnipeg, if you don't know, is super close to the border. And so I was only slightly away from there. So very close to the border still as well. I had a snowstorm in August.
Ew.
Over a foot of snow, August.
That sounds fun. So
that's something that like you can see happening. That's the best part.
Weird weather in the prairies. Now the fun part is where I live, because I live on an island. We also get really strange weather here because you've got stuff that comes up from the coast of the States, like the hurricanes and stuff like that, will actually come up and hit us. Like the same ones that hit Florida hit us. And you have Arctic weather that comes down the coast. It comes down, and it normally misses the States and most of Canada because it just comes down the coast and stays off the coast and goes off to the ocean. Problem is, we're in the way. So us, PEI, and Newfoundland all get smacked by this strange, weather at times, which is super fun, and everybody loves it so much.
You just sound ecstatic about it.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we got distracted before we even discussed talking about the anime before we got distracted, this week last week technically, but this episode we watched Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid out of Comfy's recommendation, which kind of fits with the Kitsune show we've been watching.
They're both considered reverse isekai, which is weird because
what does that word mean? Isekai?
So isekai means like in another world. So Rising of the Shield Hero, that's an isekai story. Sword Art Online, that's an isekai ReZero. Konosuba, all of these stories where people like are in a
Go to another
universe where
world.
they don't belong.
Yeah.
Oh,
isekai
so the
is
dragon
traditionally-
is
Right. And so in this case, we have
it's like a reverse
the opposite.
one.
It's
Gotcha.
an
exactly
actual,
it's reverse isekai.
Okay.
it's
I
a fantasy
understand.
person coming to the real world.
Gotcha.
Even though like it's still like it's actually still just isekai, it's just considered reverse because it's not a normal person going to their world. It's
Yeah.
them coming to ours. And so this, like, I thought it was a very good parallel to Kitsune because that's about a fox goddess that's coming into the world and trying to help out. And this is about a dragon who was stabbed and then jumped through a portal. And then some drunk chick pulled the sword out of it. And the dragon was like, all right, I'm going to be your maid for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how the first episode starts. Just a drunk chick pulls a sword out of a dragon, and the dragon's like, "All right."
It starts like the opening scene. It was like this dragon who was hilariously too big for its tiny ass wings was flying to her apartment. It lands in front of her apartment and like rings the doorbell, and then Miss Kobayashi opens her door, and there's like this dragon, like full, like intimidating dragon poking its little head, like right inside her balcony, like on her balcony, looking in her apartment window, her door, and she doesn't know what to do.
Nope. She's like,
her immediate reaction is, "I'm pretty sure this is a dream. There's no way that this can be real."
Right.
She's like,
and then like this is as she's like walking out the door to go to work, and then the dragon decides, hey, you know what, maybe it'll be more acceptable if I turn into a hot human girl. So the dragon transforms into what is relatively a maid, but with a
still
tail
has a
and
huge tail
and horns. The horns exist.
and the horns. I forgot about the horns.
So obviously, this Kobayashi invites her inside for some tea and to talk about what the heck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
As you would do.
Yeah. As listen, if a dragon walked up at your door and you don't invite them in for tea, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's not.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If I witnessed a dragon turn into a person and then was like, "Hey, can I come in? I'd like to talk to you," I'd probably say yes.
I'd be afraid.
I would be very interested in seeing what he has to say. If I die, I would die in a weird way, and it would be something to talk about later. But
in a weird way we can talk about, not like autoerotic asphyxiation or something like that.
What,
Don't
you think you
kink
can talk
shame me.
about that? Listen, my great uncle.
no. Okay.
This is a tangent we shouldn't go down.
I don't have a great uncle. Don't worry. At
So
least
then,
not
anyway,
anymore. But
anyway, this like the dragon who is now a person but still also a dragon goes into her apartment and then like explains what happens, and then there's a flashback of like, oh fuck, you're right, I was drunk walking through the woods. I remember now.
I thought that was a dream.
Yeah.
And
like, turns out
this, I was way too wasted.
What is the dragon's name?
Toru.
Yeah.
Okay, so Toru is like, all right, I want to be your maid, and Kobayashi's like, I don't really need one though. So Toru's about to leave, all brokenhearted, and Kobayashi's like, fine, you can be my live-in maid.
The best part is, and it definitely shows you this as much as it possibly can later on, is that Kobayashi absolutely has a maid fetish.
Yes. Yeah, that gets shown super quick.
They show you that as much as possible, as early on as possible.
Did I miss that? I must have missed that.
Yeah,
you talk about it at the bar.
You completely missed that then if you didn't catch that. But she 100% has a massive fetish for maids.
She's also a very mean drunk.
Yes.
She's a very
She's
also an alcoholic.
Also
an absolute alcoholic. Like no regard.
So Comfy about spit his drink out. I was watching him do that. That's why I laughed
definitely
like a child.
did, just because I wasn't expecting that.
He was not expecting me to be funny. I'm funny sometimes. Right?
I just wasn't expecting it at that moment when I was trying to drink my water. At least I wasn't trying to drink my hot King's Coast coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah, but the entire first episode is basically, so we're going to give the one-ups from Kitsune already. They go outside the apartment in the first episode.
Woo.
There's interaction other than I'm going to take care of you. There's
It's
a sense of
funny.
wonderment from the other world character. It's funny. The characters are relatable. And this is the first episode, and we've already upped 3 episodes of Kitsune. Now, and you meet her, like, not a part of.
You
the
meet another
household
character.
friend.
Yeah, you meet another character right
Did you
off
meet him
the
in the
bat.
first episode?
Yeah, you meet
Yeah.
you meet him in the first episode. Then in the second episode, they introduce because I'm moving on to the second episode now. They introduce Kana, who is the little girl dragon, who is
Mhm.
one of the sweetest characters ever, and definitely is amazing. And she just wants to like hang out and have fun. And that the episode's there's not as much that goes on because they're introducing the concept of other dragons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, is that the one where Toru goes shopping and everything, or is that the episode after?
I don't remember. That episode made me laugh though. We can get to that
Yeah,
later.
no, she's like, I'm gonna go shopping, and then she takes Kobayashi shopping. He's like, why aren't you going to like the supermarket? It's like, well, I know everybody in the fresh air markets, like they're all nice to me. And then she like goes out and everybody's like giving her free stuff because she's a social person.
Yes.
And it's like, it's actually like showing her interacting with the world, and it's normal, and she uses her superhero powers to knock a bitch out.
Oh yeah,
Um,
somebody gets her purse taken and
purse
she
stolen,
turns to
yeah.
Miss Kobayashi. She's
So-
like, "Hey, can I go help?" And she's like, "As long as you don't like show
You're
off that you're actually not a human." And she's like, "Okay, no big deal." So she like crouches down and leaps forward,
And it's
leaving
already
like
there.
a crater where she was fucking standing. Like she breaks apart the concrete. She jumps so hard. It's like, what the fuck? That
I
is
just
not
want
at
to
all
point
it.
out that like
I chuckled. I laughed.
I also want to point out the show has like really good like clean normal like slice of life animation.
Yes.
And then when they do like those scenes that happen, they happen every like couple of episodes or so. Like it's not in every single time there's like some massive fight scene, but there's also
Uh-huh.
like the one between her and Kana where they're like throwing
Where they're
kamehamehas at each
Yeah,
other.
They're playing.
quote
yeah.
playing, and
What the hell
You
are
know,
you doing? We're just
yeah,
playing.
it's like we're just
Can
playing
you
around. It's like-
restrain yourselves? We are.
He's like, we are restraining ourselves. Like this could kill me. Please stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like-
like the two
I thought this
dragons,
was
they
human levels.
wanted to get out of the house at one point to like blow off some steam and do some stuff. So they start going to this huge wide open field and
I
they
think
start
they
playing.
end up like I think they end up somewhere in like Mongolia is what
Who
the
knows?
consensus was,
Yeah, because they're not in Japan anymore.
and it
They-
was a
they make
big
quote-
old glass plane or a grass plane. So like the consensus was like they ended somewhere in Mongolia and just made a meme out of it.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying to think if anything else happens in that episode. I can't think of anything in
It's
particular.
been a
That's
couple
the
weeks.
same episode that
I've-
Kana shows up. So that's
Yeah,
her
and then
showing up and going around and seeing where Kobayashi works and stuff. That's pretty much what
and
happens.
just being a cute child full of wonderment.
Yeah.
She becomes like a super fun character once she starts going to school and stuff and interacting with the other kids because she does not care about anything with her facial expressions. Like she's just deadpan, and everybody sees that and is like, "Oh my god, she is so cool. She doesn't care about anything. Let's go hang out with the cool girl." And it's hilarious. And then the third episode, which was the last one we watched, they introduce all of the other dragons except for one. So they introduce I don't know what you'd call her, the dragon that everybody just like makes fan art of,
Quetzalcoatl.
Mokoa
Yeah.
or whatever. So they introduce her, and she's just like crazy and moderately weird. And then they introduce Fafnir, who they make the amazing comparison because he just stays in and guards his treasure all the time because he's one of those types of dragons. They make the
Oh my
comparison
God.
that he's an otaku.
Yeah.
And like later on in the show, he's living with that other dude that Kobayashi works with, and they just play like WoW all day. Like,
Yeah, because they show him and they're like, "Hey, look, it's Dark Souls," and he gets completely hooked on playing Dark Souls in like 5 minutes and just
Yeah.
starts.
well, it's like you
Like
had
playing
that
it.
character for 5 minutes, and you already had this progression of storytelling. Like,
You kind of
it's
knew
like-
something
it's-
about him.
yeah, well, it's like it's almost like, as I said, it's the other show but done right.
Sure.
So
We'll get to the other.
Yeah,
oh,
we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
We also didn't talk
overall-
about how Toro
Oh,
is
okay.
trying to feed Kobayashi her tail.
Oh,
Which
she's
is poisonous.
absolutely trying to feed her. No, she removed the poison.
Yeah. Okay. Her flesh
Oh.
is poisonous unless she takes the time to remove the poison, which she has
And
done. And she
she
even
did.
mentions that it takes a lot of time to do that, and that she's upset she won't eat the tail because it takes so much time to prepare.
I do want to point out that this is not the end of her trying to feed Kobayashi her tail saga.
I don't doubt it.
That does continue a
don't
little.
Don't doubt it. Also, Toro is like in love with Kobayashi.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
very easily.
I mean, she literally comes out and says it.
Yeah,
and that she also hates humans.
Yes, she has a hatred of humans, mostly due to her previous interactions with mankind in the other world where she's from. Where
They actually explain it like really, really well.
suck.
That it's not just some like racism, but like every interaction she's had with people is like somebody trying to stab and kill her because she's a dragon. So, and like later on, they go on. There was like another like one human that she didn't hate and something like that sort of character development.
The other thing that happens is they get a new apartment. So because
they're
living in a small apartment,
I forgot about that.
Right now, it's just up to that point, it's just Kobayashi living by herself. Toro
and
moves
suddenly
in,
she has two mouths to feed.
And then, Kana moves in, and it's like, okay, this is no longer fine. Like this is too many people for the tiny space. So they move into a new apartment, and they meet the neighbors because they're like
the neighbors are all
loud,
nice
and
the
they
neighbors
start
are
arguing
nice
with
people who are misunderstood.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like 3 or 4 neighbors that they introduced, and
they introduced 3 neighbors.
Three neighbors, okay. Like, so in the first 3 episodes, you get to meet 4 non-human characters who are going to be recurring people. You get to meet 3 dragon characters who are going to be recurring characters, as well as our 2 main characters, like all in the first 3 episodes. So there's a good establishment of the overall plot, like concept of what's going on, as well as a good number of characters. There's some character development. You learn some backstory, pretty much of most people, or an interesting tidbit of everybody, which is all good. And then we have the Fox show.
Well, if we're already
we might as well,
Kitsune.
in the case of these, because these 2 shows are, very similar in terms of, the
being almost
like,
directly comparable.
They're very, very
are.
comparable.
Right.
So we should probably discuss the Fox show and what that's like.
So we've watched 2 episodes. We're still up to date with it because we missed last week. We still watched episode 3 and 4 of Kitsune. Episode 3, and like the reason that we relate these 2 shows, in case you haven't been in the listening or you don't really know, Kitsune is like a show where there's a magical fox who comes to this one person's house and lives with him, and she's from like a magical world. So now she like cooks for him and cleans for him and does all this shit. And the first 2 episodes we did not like at all. Like nothing happened. Episode 3, you actually get out of the house a little bit.
There was some upswing. There was some upswing there.
They went shopping. I think that was like kind of it. But at the same time, like
it's 3 episodes in. Like 3 episodes in, they've done one thing.
It took 3 episodes for them to introduce.
No, they did 2 things. They did 2 things.
Third character.
They did.
Yes, because we finally met the neighbor.
Character. Who, like, I don't think I can read that character at all. Holy crap.
We didn't get too much info on the neighbor. She mentions that she's a student, also works at home. Going from the few shots in episode 4 of her apartment you get, it looks like she's an artist, like a comic artist of some sort.
She's probably making some like comics on. I bet you she's making some like fan comics of that Fox Girl show that she was watching.
Probably.
She's actually not. She draws Maid comics.
She draws what comics?
She draws Maid comics. So the image on her screen, because I went and looked.
Wait,
what is this? A crossover episode?
I know it's the weirdness. She's drawing a maid, and she has her computer, like she's drawing on her tablet, like her tablet monitor. She's drawing a maid, and up on her monitor there's a bunch of reference art. Because I know, because this is something I've done myself. So for me, that was a very familiar scene of my day-to-day life. where I'm drawing something and then I've got reference up on another monitor. So for me, it's like,
I
oh,
know
what is this? So
Gotcha. So anyway, in the beginning of this show, beginning of episode number 3 of Kitsune, she has to go shopping, and seeing as how it's his day, I don't even remember what the hell his name is. It's his day off. He's like, I'll go with her.
I don't either. See,
like he doesn't trust her
he
to go on her own.
Doesn't trust her to go by herself because she's not
from
Earth, from the world, and she, has no concern about the fact that she looks like, an 8-year-old girl, like an 8-year-old girl who's dressed up in cosplay.
Can I really quickly interject here?
Like you got to remember
how goddamn creepy it is that they keep saying she's 800 years old. Well,
they have to make everybody know it's okay. It's not actually. It's still very weird, but
because remember when we do meet the neighbor, she comes over to their apartment because they're being super loud, and she opens the door to yell at them, and she sees this little girl, dressed as in cosplay, pushed up against the wall, and this creepy older dude getting ready to grab her, and she's like, slams the door and starts calling the police.
I forgot how
for that episode.
How bad that first beginning of episode 3 was. How it's just not okay. His behavior was. It's terrible.
Because that is something that he's was super worried about people, if you remember episode 1, of people seeing him with her, right, when he comes home, because he's like, oh god, some small child broke into my house. Oh no, I'm gonna get arrested, and they're gonna think I'm like some type of weird pedophile because there's this little girl in my house. They're gonna think I kidnapped her and I'm doing strange things because she's dressed as in cosplay. And that's exactly what his neighbor assumes as soon as he sees them.
Yeah,
can I also really quickly? They keep trying to add some aspect of realism to the show, in the I'm terrified of my neighbor thinking I'm a pedophile or something like that. Which, by the way, that's not an angle you come from when you're like, I want this to be a complex show. Come from literally any other angle.
Yeah,
or lighthearted. That's not a lighthearted angle.
Make it funny. Make me laugh and not just feel weird.
They keep doing that, and the neighbor walks in, it's like, who are you? And it's like, I'm his wife and his mom at the same time. And it's like,
I'm his wife mother. Wait, that's how she says, I'm his wife mother. And she's like, okay, fine, that makes sense. That's what I thought.
She accepts that. What? Why that they add this realism of we need to be careful. We can't let people figure out who you are. We can't do this. And they're playing it smart. Dragon Maid, I think, does it really well in the direct comparison because Toru uses her powers once and it attracts another dragon to her location immediately.
Yes.
It is, I saw that, I knew it was you, so I came to you. And in this, it seems like there's no consequences. And it's getting past the point of ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, she even starts flying around in the grocery
supermarket. And nobody's and
now the little kid notices.
The little kid notices, and she's like, look, she has but she's not notice her flying. She's like, look, she has a tail.
Yeah. Oh, shit, you're right. That's right.
And then her mom's like, yes, a lot of, little girls have ponytails.
Not paying any attention. Not. The mother didn't look up at all.
I get that. That's the most realistic thing that they've done as a parent not giving attention to their child.
Yeah, they're like, fuck you, kid. I don't think
You think that joke was too far?
Oh, man. But yeah, by the end of his trip to the grocery store, Kitsune is addicted to fried tofu, brings home way too much of it. He realizes that he should have been had faith that she was going to be just fine on her own because he's like, oh yeah, she's 800 years old and I don't know how she's fine.
I don't know how he comes to that conclusion considering all the times he had to stop her in the grocery store.
Yeah, he's like, she'll be fine from now on.
It's you don't walk around, you don't have a baby in the kitchen and keep pushing it away from the knives and then be like, you know what? I think the baby learned its lesson.
Here's a knife.
It with sharp knives.
Yeah, here's a knife, kid. Go to town.
Everything is going to be great. Yeah. But
it's
how did they
the show has so much potential and I think that's what makes it so sad.
Also, so we don't meet our first ancillary character until episode 3, and we
Yeah.
don't
They
get
haven't introduced the white-haired fox girl yet.
and we don't get our second ancillary character, the white-haired fox girl,
until
Looks
the
like
end of
it's gonna be-
episode 4.
It shows her at end of episode 4,
They
and she says,
tease
"I'm going to go down there." They tease her entrance, so it's another whole episode before you get another character. So
Yeah.
we have a cast of 3 people 4 episodes in, which is ridiculously slow when you have multiple characters. You never take this long to introduce people. Like, if this is a 12-episode anime, and I can't imagine that it is, given how slow they're going, what are they doing? Like, this is nuts.
I mean,
and I just want to
I
point
have
out
no
like,
idea.
another comparison. So you might have noticed that we weren't introduced to one of the dragons in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Uh-huh.
Her name is Elma, and she's introduced in episode 9, but you don't feel like you're missing out on anything because they have enough content and characters to keep you interested.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a whole new you have a whole
you have this entire cast, and when the extra character shows up, it doesn't feel like they're crowding, which it like probably should, considering that you currently have like this cast of 5 dragons, I think 3 or 4 humans. Like, you have all of them interacting with each other and talking to each other, and there's all the different cliques and stuff. And it doesn't feel crowded because they handle it correctly. It's not that hard when you only have 2 characters, but you're still doing it wrong. Like, if you can understand why I'm like so infuriated by how this show is doing so poorly.
It's very like, the pacing is very off. Like, I can't imagine it. I really can't imagine that this is meant to be a 12-episode show. Just because every other show I've ever watched, like every other anime, the pacing is better than this. Like, even when there's a small cast, they take time to introduce everybody quickly, because that gives you the most time. Even if you have 24 episodes and you drag stuff out to you.
Like, I think one of my worst cases of like the most bland pacing possible is actually, I'm sure Copper's watched Sword Art Online.
I have.
It's, for all the hate the show gets, it's fine. But the most boring part about it, and it's so monotonous in this sense, is every episode introduces a new character, a new arc, and then finishes it. Every single episode. The first episode introduces Klein. The second episode introduces Asuna. The third episode introduces the Moonlit Black Cats, and then subsequently kills them all off.
Yep.
The fourth episode introduces the little girl. I forget the fifth, and like the sixth and seventh are like the murder mystery ones. Like, it introduces a new character and discards them almost completely.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's the Smith they introduced like super quick, and then
the Liz, who's best girl. Changed my mind. But they introduce these new characters like one episode, and then they aren't shown again until like later seasons. And in later seasons, they are built up as full characters, and they are totally fine. But the original like Sword Art is super garbage for that pacing, because it's so monotonous, and it's like, all right, I know next episode, according to the intro, I know that I'm getting this character, and they're gonna go do this.
Yeah, it's very, very not well paced. They rush through they have a big cast, but they rush through introducing that cast super fast.
Exactly, and like
it's kind of the opposite problem here, where they're taking way too much time. Yeah. There they go way too quick.
And because it's not also that like you're introducing your cast too quickly. Too. Yeah, like it's not the fact that they're introducing their cast so quickly. Like, Dragon Maid introduces 8 people over the span of 2 episodes, or like 3 episodes, and you get used to them. But the problem is that they introduce a character and then subsequently throw them away, except for like 3 characters.
Yeah, you don't they're introduced and then they're gone. Like, nothing else is done with them. Like, that's it.
They show up, they walk in, they have their story arc with the main character, and then the main character is like, all right, time to throw you in my waifu bag and walk away. And that's it.
That's kind of what happens, yeah.
I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't true.
I know.
But yeah, no. Also, I want to point out that in our private like group chat between like last week, we were like, I said, do we want to just drop this show? And we were all like, I don't know. This episode was pretty good, because we were watching episode 3.
It's like they sped the pacing up. They're doing stuff.
They
I
did
think we can give them-
something.
I think we can give them another chance, and we did.
Then
Man, do they
episode
punt that ever
4,
so far.
Good God.
They punt the shit out of that. Like,
Yeah,
look,
so
we're making
episode
progress.
4,
Oof. Who the fuck
nothing
that go?
happened. Nothing.
Nothing
She
happened.
like
At all. Yeah.
he had to wake
And the
up
thing
on a
is,
Sunday
I was
morning
hopeful.
to go to work, and the whole
Wait, can
premise
I get-
was, what's up?
Can I get mad about this really quick?
I don't care.
Yeah, go ahead.
He needed to go to work to protect his job.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And-
the thing I got. And he's not angry. Like, what the fuck?
Why? Not only like is he not angry, but she's like, yeah, I'm a good person. No, you're not.
It's like his ass told you to wake him up because he's
You
got to go to
had-
work.
You had one job.
Well,
Like,
we should, what happened was he had to go to work on a Sunday when he normally doesn't have to go to work on a Sunday. And
Because Sundays are his day off.
she wanted him to turn off his phone alarm, let him get woken up by her. And he's like,
By
oh,
quote,
okay.
all of her
Okay.
love.
Yes.
Yeah, the direct
Quoted.
quote. You don't need that thing to wake you up. I'm gonna wake you up with all of my love.
All
It's
of
like-
her love.
Like, it's,
So, anyway,
in the terms
she
of
lets
them
him
doing things
fucking
creepy
sleep
again,
in because she doesn't wake his ass up. He wakes up. He's like, well, I can't go to work today. It's already like afternoon.
Which, to be
Oh,
fair,
well,
I wake up
then,
like 5
hold on.
minutes late. and I'm
Then
12.
let's her convince him to let her wake him up again the next day. So he doesn't immediately go, no, fuck you. You made me miss a day of work. Going back to my phone alarm. He's like, yeah, okay. Whatever.
It just
Was there anything
like,
else that happened in this episode?
there's the way she got him to stay in bed. So the way she
Oh,
got
you
him to
know
stay
what?
in bed is using her tail, and it's already been established from
that's
episode 1
moderately
that
sexual.
that is more than moderately sexual, and he's kind of a furry. So she's like, you don't have to get up. Here,
Hey,
have this
before-
furry thing right in your face. And he's
Before
like,
we go throwing around the term furry, I'll want to point out that this is the acceptable bar. All right? Anything past this level of fur is too much. Fox girls, okay. More than that, listen. We're going to need a talk. And at least they're not all neon colored fox girls.
So you're saying
Otherwise-
my love for what's going to be the original look of Sonic the Hedgehog live action movie is not okay?
We will get to that in a moment. All right. Let's finish the anime talk. Because we're actually doing really well right now.
Uh-huh. So, like, man.
But yeah, nothing else happens in an episode except for the fact that you learn that she can't do shit with technology.
I kind of
okay,
got...
through the
That
hell
was a
out.
pretty good section.
I
thought
did
it was
like
very
that part,
fun.
to be honest. Like, he
Um,
goes
that
to
is-
work at
yeah, that's
some
what I said.
point.
It's something that happens. It's like she gets a little character progression. We learn that she can't do anything like technology. We see the neighbor,
She looked
The
cute
neighbor-
as hell in those glasses, though. I want to point that out.
and the neighbor could have had some, interaction with her at this point. She could have had some development as a character.
She could have
Instead,
come
they
over
go-
and helped her show how the electronics work.
Instead, they have the character going, "Oh, the noise stopped randomly, all at once, from
Bet
all
they're
this loud
okay."
noises. She's probably okay," and goes back and sits the fuck down. It's like,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
so...
you hear massive amounts of noise
Can
coming
we-
from
can we do
somewhere,
a-
then everything goes
Okay,
dead
so a
silent.
lot of people probably have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, because... So what had happened was he went to go to work. She stayed at home to do chores, and she was like, why do they use technology for this? So she tries to use a vacuum cleaner, hates the vacuum cleaner, uses like the stovetop, the
I
rice
thought it was very
cooker.
cute how she was afraid of the sound the vacuum cleaner made.
Yes.
just
it-
just like a
very
dog.
sure.
She just likes the loud sound.
and
More like a fox, but
the washing machine for laundry. So she uses all these things. She puts forth some effort to learn technology, which is hilarious because she's old. She uses the TV remote to try to turn the air conditioner off, and then she turns on the TV and she doesn't know why. It's hilarious, kind of, and weird.
because the air conditioner had a remote.
Because
that
she's
was
old,
similar.
And then she trips the breakers, and
Because she
everything in the
turned on
apartment
every single
dies.
appliance in the apartment. Now, I want to point out,
So she sits in the dark until he
Kobayashi's
gets home.
Dragon Maid, there was an issue where the neighbors were making too much noise, and you just got
Yes.
to go find out what each neighbor was doing, and you had great punchlines like, "What were you doing? Oh, what was she doing? Like washing the dishes or something?"
No, she
I
was
don't
cooking.
remember.
Like
She was-
the lady next door who's making this insane amount of it sounds like a jackhammer. Like that's basically what it sounds like.
It sounds terrifying. And she's like, I was just cooking, and the other neighbors are like,
they're like cooking. They're like,
what are
the
you
fuck?"
doing? Because like the other neighbors, one of them was practicing his metal music that he makes
Yes.
in his free time, and the other neighbor was practicing. I forget what the other neighbor was doing.
He works at home and he makes wooden figurines. He was literally using power tools.
Yeah, so he's using power tools, and it's like, hey, and I liked too that they didn't like all just point fingers at each other. They came up with like communal like rules, like, hey, why don't we just not make noise in these hours?
Yeah, they did it really quickly.
But they all
too.
like there was an investigation, and there was a reaction when they were like, wait, really? That's what's going on? Are you serious right now? Which, come on, man, that's like so much better.
Yeah, because
So
no
much
neighbor who hears that much noise and has literally has gotten up and made the decision, I'm going to go see what the hell is going on. Especially since we've already seen this character barge into another person's apartment because of noise that's less than this. And now she's met them and likes them. And she suddenly hears all this noise and then everything goes dead silent.
Yeah.
Normally that would cause concern from somebody. She's like, it's fine.
I want to point out that there's character progression, and then there is what they did with her character. Now, character progression is like, I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball lately. Let's try Vegeta, right? So you get this guy who shows up who wants to destroy the Earth. Then he starts making connections. Then he starts realizing that there's more in his life than just being the strongest. And then at the end of Dragon Ball Z, he's accepting he's not the strongest and that he needs to work better to work with his family, to the point that he attacks a god because the god slapped his wife.
He gets married to a human, which is something he considered humans like insects.
Your literal humanity disgusts me.
Yes.
But like that's character progression. Now with this character, they had that same kind of progression where it goes from hating to loving, but it happened like they flipped a light switch, so it's not progression. It's just kind of cheating to the end game.
She's like, what are you people doing? Like, you're super suspicious. Do you want some stew? Oh my god, stew, I love you.
That was it.
Listen, I want to point out, if that was me, that stew is poisoned. That is poisoned stew. I would die if I ate it. That is a lie. It is all a trap.
The stew is a lie.
The stew is a lie. Okay. So, first off, do you recommend Dragon Maid? I know Comfy does.
I would recommend Dragon Maid.
I would as well. Honestly, I'm not going to
lighthearted show.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it myself anymore personally, but like,
I didn't expect you to like any of it, honestly, just because they do a little of the like sexual themes later on.
I mean, but I don't know the way they, I don't know, like it's just a funny show. Like the whole thing is meant to be hilarious. Like if this was a serious show and they were doing that, like if they don't present the weird cringy shit as humorous to me, I hate it.
That makes sense.
But if they like acknowledge that it's ridiculous and present it to you in a way that's supposed to be funny, I'm like, all right, here we go.
100%, is showing this is, ridiculous and strange. Like even the main character is like, with the whole tail thing and her being in love with her, she's like, this is weird. Like,
yeah.
Like, but you don't have to leave, but this is weird.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to watch this show anymore. It's not
your style.
It's not for me. But like, if you want to watch a silly anime show, I got some laugh. I laughed out loud a couple times at this show. Honestly, like it was funny. Like, but I'm just like
a good comedy show with good voice acting, good animation. Looks to be what's going to be an interesting story with interesting characters.
I do want to point out they did also announce a second season for this show a couple months back.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out in like probably spring of 2020.
Yes. Or winter if we're super lucky.
We can always dream. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be a springtime thing just because it was announced so recently.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's probably spring. But yeah, I would say Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, definite recommend. Good comedy show, lighthearted. Definitely, if that's what you're into, that's kind of what you like, definitely go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we going to
the other show?
Are we going to drop Kitsune?
Hey,
I'm going to vote.
Recommend Kitsune.
I'm not going to recommend Kitsune, but I'm going to vote we keep going with this one and not drop it immediately.
He wants
I
to
say
stick to
we
his
wait
guns.
to see if.
Do you want to extend it? Do the 3-episode extension so we end on 6 and see where we go from there?
Well, no, because the whole point of this was to like commit to at least a full season of this show.
Yeah, I say we keep
gotta do
committing unless it goes really off the rails.
right.
But right now for this show, if
Like
you're
it's
looking
definitely
for something,
super slow paced, and we won't talk about the weird ASMR shit at the end of every episode.
Oh,
It's like an
my
after
God.
credit scene.
that's
It's
still-
super
it makes me
weird.
mad.
It's so weird.
so weird.
So
But yeah,
weird.
right now,
Here,
if you're
come lay
looking for
down
new
on my
anime,
lap.
do not
Come
pick
lay
up this
down
show.
on my lap.
There's nothing in this show I can say that is worth your time watching. It's very slow paced. There's not a lot of character development. The story isn't like super interesting as of yet. I'm hoping because they're introducing a new Fox character that
That it'll
things
be
might
decent.
pick up in that regard. Because sometimes the introduction of a new character is what a show needs to actually kick itself, up a notch into high gear.
Well, if the two Fox girls are like sassing each other and stuff, like
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
fun.
It's gonna end up.
That's
They're gonna
kinda
end
what
up
it's missing right now.
fighting
There's
over
no-
him. I guess it seems like that's going to be the case.
It could
which
be,
is
it could
fine
be
because
very
that will
fun.
give us some conflict, which for anybody who knows anything about story structure, conflict is very important, and this show doesn't have any. Like
There's
at all.
they introduced conflict but cleared it up almost immediately.
Yes. Which is weird. Like the fact that it's gone in like 2 minutes. Like that's how it's not even a whole episode of that's the weird thing. Like if
I'll
the
be
ep-
right
like because the episode starts with, conflict of the neighbor coming over and thinking, oh my god, he's a pedophile assaulting a girl. I'm calling the police.
And then it ended
There's
with her
no-
getting fed and being like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, like 2 minutes later,
Dude.
like after the opening scene, it's like, here, look, nothing strange is going on. I'm actually of age. No proof of this, mind you. She's just saying I'm actually of age. Here, do you want some stew? And she's like, okay, I guess you're of age. It's fine. It's like, but she didn't prove any of this to you. She's just saying it. Like, this is not. That's not how you do things like this. A situation like this, you would actually call the police and let them handle it. Like, it's a very odd lack of conflict, like lack of an actual resolution. It's just not well written.
But yeah.
Like, there's no other way to put it.
So unless you want to watch the show to follow it and keep up with what the fuck we're talking about, don't. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not worth it. If you want
It's
to keep
kind
up
of
with us
cringy
for
as
it,
fuck. But
sure,
like,
it's very, very cringy. It's walking this strange line of like sexual innuendo with like ASMR segments at the end with it's supposed to
Oh,
be
man.
like cutesy and wholesome. It's very like
It's
weirdly
creepy.
paced.
it's weird.
Yeah, it's there's just a lot of strange choices here. And I watch Ichi shows on the regular. They're one of my favorite type of shit. Like that type of comedy is super funny to me. And this show
You know
isn't
what's hilarious?
funny. It's got
Jiggly
none of that.
boobs.
It's
Jiggly anime
odd.
titties are always hilarious.
they're always great. Always
Man, what would I do without jiggly anime titties?
You'd probably be watching Dragon Ball.
I don't watch either of those things.
I know you don't.
One of these days, I'm gonna get Dragon Ball Z Kai and I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it maybe, and
You
then I'll
should.
watch
It's-
Dragon Ball Super.
Like it's an easy recommendation for a show. If you like fighting anime, Dragon Ball is a good one to pick up. Like straight off. It's the same way if you like that type of anime and you like supernatural abilities, as well as like people going through like a process of learning from nothing to becoming like a really strong character. I would say go watch Hunter x Hunter. It's a really good show as well. It's very, very long, so it's hard for us to
Are we talking about shows with character development?
go
No,
over
with
here. Well,
Jiggly
we were
boobs.
talking about Jiggly Boobs, and then Dragon Ball came up, and we recommended Dragon Ball, and I recommended Hunter x Hunter as a
Wait, I missed the conversation about Jiggly Boobs. I was gone for 3 minutes.
Well, Copper was talking about how he loves Ichi shows, and I was like, anime titties. Yeah, that was
yeah. You missed it.
yeah.
Listen, sometimes the shows are good. Sometimes they're not. I feel like defining whether it's good or not because it's in a set genre is a bad idea. I hate a lot of slice of life shows. I hate a lot of idol shows. Man, Zombieland Saga is great.
I still gotta watch that. I can't normally stand idol shows. They just annoy the hell out of me.
Listen,
Idol
the
shows.
first
What's an
episode,
idol
there's
show?
no
Hold
action.
on.
It's
Oh, what's an idol
really-
show? Okay,
Yeah.
so for Dale and for anybody else who is listening, Japan has this phenomena,
obsession.
yeah, with
Better
something
word.
known as idols. So idols are basically girls of usually a very younger age, so teenagers to young 20s.
Generally high school or
Yeah.
early college.
So you're looking at like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 to like 23, 24. It's probably the maxing out at that point.
Uh-huh.
It's not a long career. Where they're basically pop stars. So they sing really popular songs, they get on the radio, stuff like that. They have albums out.
It's
But
J-pop.
these people also need to be able to like do a little bit of acting, dancing, stuff like that. They go around to different venues from like, you know, openings of malls to openings of special events and ceremonies and, you know, actual concerts, stuff like
Yes.
that. And they're known as idols,
Mhm.
Gotcha.
kind of the term for it thing. So an idol show is an anime show that follows around usually a single or a group of idols as they become idols, like go from nothing, become idols, get famous, and then, you know, hijinks ensue. That's
I
usually
watched
the
a
story
lot
arc.
of Love Live. No meme. Totally worth. And that's a great idol show.
So that's what those are. This is the one that Comfy
Zombieland
mentioned.
Saga is
It's
a
an
slice
idol
of
show with a twist.
So it's an idol show, but all of the idols are zombies brought back to life. They're all like these young girls who are brought back to life and will be, you know, pretty much eternally young because that's fair. And they have to put on a bunch of makeup because their skin is all like green and stuff otherwise. And instead of being like a normal idol group that sings like pop songs, they do like metal. It's ridiculous and it's stupid for the sake of being stupid, and it's really fun. But and then like so like the first episode they don't do any of that. They just introduce all the characters and they have like the dude who's like, haha, I'm in charge. All of you are going to be idols for me. And you're just kind of like, wait, excuse me? What the heck? Notice I said heck there. That's because we're only on 18 plus, not 19 plus. But then the second episode they do like a metal concert on accident and everybody's just like bobbing their heads because they're crazy. And then the third episode they have like a 8 Mile style rap battle, which I'm sure you've seen gifs of on the internet. It's really funny.
Huh.
But it's just that the show's ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous, and I don't think that putting something in a genre means anything because you get stuff like this that's a complete outlier for the sake of being an outlier.
And this show is considered one of the breakout shows, like unexpected breakouts of the season as well.
Yes, it came out and was very, very popular. That was one of the reasons I heard of it, was because I heard a lot of positive information about it, and I was like, I want to try this show.
Yeah, that's why it's on my to watch list, because I usually skip idol shows. So as soon as they said it's an idol show, I was like, meh. And then people started talking about it, and they're like, yeah, it's actually an idol show where everybody's a zombie. I'm like, okay, that's different. Like, what's going on? It's kind of like what's it called, Madoka Magica. In that,
where it's like it's a magical girl show, but then they're like, haha, lol, nope.
Yeah. So Madoka Magica is what you typically find of a magical girl show. Think, Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, that type of stuff. Except again, there's a twist, and it makes the show. It kind of turns the show on its head and becomes very interesting due to the shake-up to the norm.
Yes,
that you have due to that.
I recommend Madoka Magica as a magical girl show just because I was watching it and thought it was a normal magical girl show, and then
you're like,
the
oh my
twist
god,
happened, and it was like, it was really jarring. I was like 2 a.m, and so for reference, what happens is, spoilers. This isn't a magical girl show. People die.
Yeah.
And the first time you're introduced to this, people die by this girl getting her head bitten off by a Technicolor monster. And I wasn't ready for that at 2 a.m. So
should note that this looks like a magical girl show. So it has the same type of like cutesy art style for a lot of it. And then they're like, here's murder. So it's really out of left field.
the here's murder part is my favorite part.
And you're like, what the hell's going on? And it's like, yeah, if you don't keep doing this and killing things, you're gonna die and lose your soul. It's like, what? It's like, where did this come from? So
And basically like the little animal that's trying to be like, you should be a magical girl, is also basically telling them like, you should throw away your life for me.
yes. Yeah.
Which is a very important plot point, because they're like, you are not the good guy here.
Yeah.
You were the good guy, but you're not. But interesting show. Yeah. Genres don't mean shit.
Right.
Like, and you can use it to help filter yourself. Like, I generally try to not watch a lot of ecchi shows, but there are definitely good shows that have that tag on them. And they only have that tag because, like, somebody does something at one point in the show, and suddenly that tag is necessary.
Or if you're Konosuba, it happens a lot, and it's just funny.
Dude, I watch Konosuba so much, and I forget how ecchi it is.
That show is like extreme. Like, as soon as darkness comes along, you're like, oh.
No, not only that though, but like in the first episode, do you know how many shots there are of Aqua's ass just like around? It's constant. It's unending. And I honestly don't even notice it.
Yeah, because she's
just like,
they
it's
constantly
so, like, in the back of my mind.
It's the weird thing about that show is that the overt sexual character is darkness when she gets introduced.
Yes.
But up to that point, it shows like he's stealing panties. He's leering at women, stuff like that. It's showing shots of like
hand thing.
Yeah, it's showing like constant shots of Aqua. But the thing is, she's made it out to be such a literal idiot and so annoying that you don't care about these like constant shots of her ass and stuff like that.
Dude, that's totally it.
Because it's like
she care about her.
She's like, oh my god, I hate this woman. Why did he do this to himself? Like
that's why my waifus are picked mostly on the content of their character, not the content of their drawing. That's why the current best girl bot is Melty from Rising of the Shield Hero, because she's the only character in that show with some goddamn sense in her head.
I like that show. I'm all, what? I'm not all caught up. I can't watch the most recent episode because I have free Crunchyroll, and that's it.
I canceled my paid Crunchyroll. I lose it like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I have to.
Comfy has been watching that show. He's super annoyed at almost every character on that show.
Oh my god! Listen, this is one of the shows, and somebody, because like I've posted about this in the anime chat because I just needed to vent about it. But I talked about this. It's the same way I feel about Domestic Girlfriend. Every character sucks. I hate everything. I can't look away. Oh my god! No, so here's the thing. So, like, the beginning of the show, it's like he's here and it's all fine. I'm like, cool, normal world. And then mine shows up and she's like, smite you, bitch. Get out of my kingdom. Because, oh man, spoiler alert, it's the king's daughter who didn't see it coming, probably a blind bat. But like, then she's being mean and nobody listens to Naofumi, so he's completely disillusioned and hates everything. So he's walking around like, well, I'm gonna play the bad guy, and does a bad job at playing the bad guy. And then he like becomes the good guy, but is also just getting shafted for existing. Like now there's some church that's trying to kill him because he is the devil. Like, and like the king finally brings him up and is like, listen, you did good. Like, we can like put this behind us. He's like, lol, nah, loser, suck it, and leaves. Like, now I'm not saying that the king is a good character, but the dude extended an olive branch and Naofumi spat in his mouth hole. Like, I get being disillusioned. It's a very fun trait for a character to have, but he's doing that, and then Raftali is just enabling him. She's great, but she's an enabler. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, she hates the king just as much, but
yeah, for good reason.
She has a good reason to hate the king, like.
But she is enabling him and his like just hatred of everything.
His hate boner, yes.
Yeah, his it's like a hate boner.
That's what I said. Hate boner.
Hate boner. But so she's like, it's been like, all right, now Fumi, you can go be abusive to the king, because all that. And then Mel shows up and she's like, please just fucking stop, guys. We don't have time for this. Like, there's so many more important things, like the life or death of our world. I would just like, I'd like that to be our focus. It's like, nah. Granted, they are like showing that like Ren is actually the good boy and the best character in the entire show now. Because he is smart, and I don't remember the Archer boy's name, but he's less of a shit than everybody else as well.
Yes.
But man, it's just to see a character like repeatedly screw themselves over, it hurts, you know? It's just infuriating on like a weird level. And I don't know, I need to keep watching it because I need to see what happens.
No, yeah, I am too. I'll keep up.
We've already been shown that he's the most powerful character for no reason. But like, man, it is just that show. I'm caught up to it because I can watch a lot of shows at work, which is super convenient.
That's
but
nice.
Man, it's just, it kills me inside. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Have you been watching anything fun recently?
Just Shield Hero.
Now I've been watching anything.
That's it. I've been super busy this week. I hardly even got to binge watch anything. I'm sad. I was busy fixing my car and doing all kinds of other stuff.
Not the car things.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching much really this week. Oh, there is one show I started. Hold on. Let me yank this up. Get the name right here. So I haven't started Fairy Tail yet. I haven't started the Lost City show yet. I did start another one whose name I can't pronounce.
As is tradition.
As is tradition, because I am.
Pronounce it.
I know it would be. Here, I'm just gonna pop the name in your chat, and you can read that.
Bokutachi wa Benkyo ga Dekinai.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. What he
said. So that's the show where it's also one of the shows we had looked at doing. Where the guy is the tutor. It's the one where the guy is the tutor to the two students who are brilliant at certain subjects, but idiots at like
the one that they want to do.
But that's the subject they want to go into for a profession, and he's like, son of a bitch. So he has to tutor them because otherwise he doesn't get the scholarship that he needs to be able to go to college because his family is beyond dirt poor.
Is this gonna be? Poor. Is this gonna be one of those shows that I hate?
No. There's not a lot of ecchi stuff in this. The last episode had some.
This was the episode that this was the show that we like looked over because it had the ecchi tag on it.
Yeah, so this show has an ecchi tag, oddly, because the first ecchi stuff doesn't actually occur until the newest episode, which is like episode 4 or 5. And even then, it's like not super like out there, and he's not a character that's reveling in it. He's horrified by the things that. So, like up to that point, it's basically him tutoring these two idiots, and them mistaking some stuff where, you know, he's like, I'm your tutor, and they're like, yeah, whatever, and they don't really want him to tutor them because they've had a bunch of tutors beforehand, and every tutor has basically given up on them because they're very, very stupid about the subjects they want to, you know, go into, and the tutors never really found out why they wanted to learn about these other subjects and have that as their main focus, and he kind of stumbles on it, and he's like, oh, okay, I get where you're coming from. I'm going to help you, but you really need to buckle down and study. And it's literally just
studying.
Him being a tutor and him getting embarrassed because these two are like the some of the best looking girls in his school, and he's, you know, having to tutor them, and he's really awkward with women. So,
oh man, I could never see this character trait coming. It seems like such a surprise.
He's basically a nerd, and he's having to interact with these two really cute girls as a teenager, and he really know how to do it, and he just kind of, blushes a lot at times and stuff like that.
Hey, you guys want to know how I interacted with cute girls when I was a teenager?
The same way you do now. You don't.
I don't. He knew exactly where my joke was going.
I'm not sure if that's a joke or just a sad truth, chat.
So is that what we're thinking we want to do next week?
Surprisingly closer to a joke.
But overall, that show there that I've been watching is pretty decent.
Not as bad as expected.
I did binge watch the quintuplet show.
Which one?
So it's the one where the guy again is a tutor, and
it's the five
all
girls, right?
All he does is study. He's like got top marks and everything in school. He's kind of an asshole, and he's a professional tutor, so he gets hired to tutor because his family is poor, and he gets hired to tutor this what he thinks is a girl.
Second.
It's like just one person, like his normal thing, and it's for this obscene amount of money. And he's like, "Oh, I have to get this job. It's worth so much money. It's going to help my family out so much." And he comes to find out that it's not one girl; it's 5, and they're quintuplets, and they're all bad in different subjects, and kind of useless in like various ways.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to, teach them. Otherwise, he loses his job and loses all the money that family desperately needs. And the show starts in the future, and he's marrying one of the quintuplets. That's how the show starts.
You kind of have to figure out which one the whole time.
So, and then the show goes back to high school, and it doesn't show you which one he's marrying because they're fucking quintuplets, because they all look alike when they're in a wedding dress. And so he's marrying one, and it goes back and introduces him to all, and him going, all the things that occur where he's trying to get them to learn and study and stuff like that. And by the end of the series, they've all kind of got a thing for him.
As is tradition.
To one degree or another. There is one girl who flat out says, I like this guy, and her sisters know it, but they're still kind of interested in him. So
this sounds like it's all working out exactly as intended.
And then the series, like at least this season of it, it goes back to the future where they're getting married, showing them getting married again, and then the episode, like the season kind of ends, and that's probably all we're going to get for that show. So it's one of the shows where it's like, which one do you think he married, right? And it's like, no. Like,
I don't care. Listen, what is this? How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, it was very like the ending is so annoying because you're like, but who did he actually end up with? Like,
and it doesn't tell. Good
and
Lord.
It does not tell you.
Well, season 2.
If there is a season 2, yeah.
Listen, no, it's always the good shows that don't get a season 2. All right.
Yeah. So the show is pretty decent. The anime's like it's funny.
That's important.
There's not a lot of ecchi stuff in it because it does have that tag. And it kind of makes sense as you're going through, but it just kind of ends, and it's like, I really hope there's a second season of this, because like as people go through it, a few people I've talked to, they get attached to like different characters, like one of the different 5 girls, because they're all very different, which is kind of the point.
Yes.
And that's the reason why the show ends like that, is so that, whoever you like the most can kind of be the one he marries. And it's like, no, I want to know the actual...
I want to know how it ends.
Like,
I don't want to
happens.
choose your own adventure anime. Excuse me?
Yeah, this is not a choose your own adventure at the end. Give me an ending. So there's probably light novels where you can probably go through and see who he actually picks and whatnot, but I'm like, I hate when shows do this. So annoying.
Dude, or you know what my other like least favorite thing is when an anime is made just to sell copies of the light novel, and then they stop making the anime after one season because it helped them sell light novel copies.
Yeah.
That was, fun fact, that was supposed to be Konosuba. The anime for Konosuba only existed because they wanted to fuel sales for light novel copies. And the show became a smash hit, and they made a second season, and now they're making a movie that's releasing later this year. And they ended up making more they ended up making spin-offs of the light novel. So there's a Union spin-off, a Megumin spin-off, and like a Darkness spin-off, and they're all just like different versions or like different worlds that are possible.
Uh,
Like one of them is like a school slice of life one, and like all that stuff. And now like they're an
no.
isekai quartet, which is the biggest meme this season.
So Lumpy says Devil is a part-timer was like that. It was
Yes, Devil is a part-timer is when we were discussing like the reverse isekai, that's the first show I think of because it's the best example of this genre.
It is a
Like,
very
No,
good
no, no.
example. And also,
the-
but he
made
thing
to
is,
sell light novels, I assume.
it was made to sell light novels. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't announce a second one. They finished the series in the light novels. It's over. We know the ending. They just did not put it. They didn't finish it. They didn't finish the anime, and they don't have any plans to. Which is what's so infuriating because it was such a fun show. Dale, I'm sure you haven't watched it.
No.
But if you can guess what it's about by the show,
I've heard you
called-
talk about the devil gets a part-time job.
Yeah, he works
I
at
forget what he does.
McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've talked about this
yeah.
before.
Yeah,
We've
we
mentioned
have.
it in
It's a good show.
I think we talked about this before the podcast was actually a podcast. So it's been months.
Could have,
I'd say-
yeah, actually.
Fuck, we're on episode 15 of it actually being a podcast too. We've been at it for a while. GG's.
Yeah. It's Devil is a part-timer. Is a great show. It's like an actual fantasy thing. Like he's not like
He's
the
actually
devil like that you'd think of from like Western type of concept things.
or like mythology or something. Like he's not some like evil dude. He's just like actually the devil, but he doesn't care enough anymore.
So what he
And
is
kinda he
he's
kind of uses the accidental escape into another world to like kind of just excuse himself from the job of being Satan.
yeah, he's so enemies have this trope for fantasy things of the big bad guys usually known as like, the demon lord type thing.
Always
So
a demon lord.
Yeah, so that's what
Always
he
a
is.
demon lord.
That's
That's on my
what he is.
isekai bingo card.
So that's what he is, that's what he does. He's a demon lord, and then that's kind of the thing.
He's just kind of like, or I could do something else.
He's like, I could do this, or I can go back and
Or-
have this job.
Yeah, and that show's very charming and funny, and it seems like it would be
Yes.
the dumbest show ever, but it's one of the shows that you look at it and you're like, that is hilariously stupid. This is why people don't watch anime. And then you watch it and you're like, oh my god, this show is amazing. This is why everybody watches anime. Like-
And this is also why people are very mad they never finished off the anime.
Listen, there are so many shows that just keep continuing, and I don't get like the continuation of that. I know Keijo, everybody's favorite booty slamming sports show.
Wait, what?
We have
now?
discussed this before, Dale. It's the
Dude.
one where the girls slam butts together
To knock each other out of the ring into the water
there
or
you go.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
competitive
discussed
butt
this
slam.
one. It's come up.
That sounds super terrible, and I will never watch that.
Is actually a really good show, but it was also the anime was only made to fuel light novel sales, and light novel sales did not happen for that show, unfortunately. So, basically, the
No more show.
entire series is dead now.
Yeah.
Because they made the anime, and even though the anime was a smash hit and was hilarious and didn't make a lot of light novel sales, but it made a lot of like merchandising sales. Because a lot of people in the US were suddenly buying figures of girls smashing their butts together. Who knew?
Go figure.
But- Go figure. No, actually, it was a figure. It was a stay figure, not a go figure. That's the lowest tier of joke that we're going to get to today.
I really hope so.
All right.
But yeah.
So
no,
what
it's
are we eyeballing for watching this week? Anybody have any?
No.
Well, there are a few shows that started the season that we also discussed looking at as our continuing show that we
We're
can
doing
look at, like,
Fairygon then, right?
There is the Fairygon that is up there. That's one of them.
That's the only one I remember. Don't clap your hands, Comfy.
Watch Fairy God.
That's all I know. It's literally
what
it.
For reference, what I posted in the group chat was, "Can we watch Fairy Gone yet?" Like when we were talking about Kitsune, I was like, "Do we toss it? Like, can we just watch Fairy Gone yet?"
So aside from Fairygon, there is this show as well. That's the
I do
one
want
where
to watch that one. Let's watch that one. Yes, let's watch that one.
Okay, let me Google it.
So
I'm gonna Google.
Kimetsu no Yaiba. It's let me get the English name.
That's the one where the guy's like, whole village family is killed. His sister is turned into like this demon thing, and he's going through and hunting demons to try to find a way to turn her back to normal.
Yeah, with a demon hunter. It is also called Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. And the reason I'm super excited about this is it's made by Type Moon.
Okay.
Who they are the company who does all of the Fate series except for Extra.
Guess they're not extra.
Oh, you know what? I added this
Fate
to my
Extra
queue.
is a travesty. All right. Okay. So really quickly, just because I'm on this tangent. So you guys know how I made you watch Bakemonogatari before I ever even joined this podcast.
I don't remember that show. Let me Google it.
Which one was that?
I think
It was the one with the girl that like it was super stylized, and it was the girl that like didn't have any weight to her body, and they had to like.
How do I-
yes.
What do I
remember that show.
spell? What do I type?
For the show that we're gonna watch.
The one that you want me to that we watched because of you, and I don't remember it at all.
Bakemonogatari, Bakemonogatari.
And this is why we keep Comfy around people, because he can spell this shit.
Oh my god, you spelled it too quick. I got BAKEMO
MONA
NA
GATARI. Yeah.
Okay.
There should be some form of autocomplete. It's not an uncommon show. It's actually, fun fact, my computer background is...
I've never seen this.
Still. You definitely did. Trust me. But so that company...
I don't think I have.
The company that makes that show made a Fate series. It's called Fate Extra.
Wikipedia,
it's Netflix exclusive.
I've never...
And it's literally just Fate, but super stylized like that instead.
Yeah, this does not look familiar whatsoever. Copper, when did we watch this?
I can't remember.
Ago,
I know
I've seen time ago.
No, I've seen the show before, so I'm not the best person.
This
dude, if I could tell you when you watched it, I would, but I don't
now,
know.
If you don't remember, this might have been when we still had like this was before, if it was before Comfy joined us, this is when Marvel would still be about. We may have had plans to watch this one.
Yeah, I'm looking at images of it, and none of it looks familiar whatsoever. I don't think we've watched this show.
There's a good chance that we had planned to watch the show, but never actually got to it, which is completely possible.
Yeah. I remember you being super excited to recommend a show for us, Comfy, but I don't remember.
Yeah, this is the show he was super hyped to recommend, but I don't know if he actually ever got. Now it is a good show for us to go over because it's a very interesting show, but I don't think we ever quite got to it. Now I have seen some of these episodes. I've never gotten through the whole show.
All right, I'm back.
But if we want to look at doing this show at some point with Comfy, we definitely can.
That's a terrible idea.
You're always a terrible idea.
I only have terrible ideas. But no, so basically that company that does that, they make super stylized versions of shows, and they did a super stylized version of Fate that was really interesting, but it was also terribly done, and it made me sad.
Gotcha. So what was it that you were super excited to see? Demon Slayer? Is that what you wanted to do, or no?
Yeah, that's the one Comfy is.
Because it's made by Type Moon, and I've heard nothing but good things about the animation and the series.
Okay, so I remember us talking about this a while ago. I actually put that one on my Crunchyroll queue already, so I already know where to go watch it. So yeah, I'm in. Easy peasy.
Yep.
I can watch it on my couch.
Good shows to watch.
I'm super down. Is there a dub? Bonus points if there's a dub. Probably not.
Probably not.
There's
not on Crunchyroll at least.
No,
I like dubs.
I am actually watching the Rising of the Shield Hero dub.
Same.
Is it decent?
I am actually somewhat kind of looking forward to My Hero getting a dub. Or season 3 dub coming to Hulu. I might actually watch that.
Dude, the My Hero dub is top tier. Changed my mind.
I watched the first 2 seasons of it dubbed. I started like 2 episodes of season 3 with the subtitles. I'm like, I can't.
I watched it all subbed, but I want to go back and watch it dubbed because I want Vegeta as All Might, and that's like the best thing ever.
Oh, is it the same voice actor? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's Chris Sabat.
Sure.
It is, and it's just amazing because he is so good at voice acting, just like the passion that he puts behind it. Like he's just an actually fun person to watch do it. So it makes me happy when he does that stuff. Like he's in charge of all the voice acting for like Dragon Ball Super. Like he's like the casting director and everything.
Well, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's top tier, because he's good at it.
As long as we don't have issues like, the Winnie the Pooh guy, we're fine.
So
You've
next
seen
week
that?
we're
It's
gonna...
not ho ho ho. It's oh no.
Next week we're gonna do Demon Slayer. That's gonna be cool. So Comfy, what are you gonna be up to this week? You're doing the clips for kids this week as well?
I will be doing clips for kids.
I will be as well. That's gonna be fun.
So
I'm going to.
Who don't know what Clips for Kids is, give a little info on that for people.
All right. So, hey guys, have you heard about St. Jude's Children's Hospital? Now, if you haven't, I highly recommend you look them up. It is a children's hospital in, I don't remember exactly where they're located. Somewhere in the United
somewhere,
States.
Right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in Tennessee. I don't remember exactly, but it's a children's research hospital.
Yeah. So 1 second. I'm just looking up the exact location just because I want to be smart.
Probably a good idea.
They have offices all over the place.
Yes, they do.
But so basically, St. Jude's is a hospital that is run completely on donations. Is a children's research hospital. None of the patients pay to stay there. They release a new research paper, like peer reviewed and everything. I believe every 11 hours. That's a lot.
They do a lot of research work. They just recently cured a genetic condition, basically, where
thing?
Yeah, the bubble boy syndrome, as it's colloquially known. So what Clips for Kid is, it's a charity event that raises money for this non-for-profit hospital.
It's being run by Rare Drop and Guardian Con.
Yep.
All of those cool guys.
And this time around, it's also coming to Mixer. It's not just staying on Twitch. And Comfy, and I believe Dale as well is going to be taking part.
And Red's going to be taking part as well.
To raise some money for the kids.
I got my campaign set up yesterday.
We're gonna be playing some Apex Legends. I'm gonna reinstall Black Ops 4. I
need to make sure I actually have that installed. I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing. Yeah, we'll do Apex. We'll do Blackout. We're gonna do some PUBG just for those meme games.
I don't have PUBG. I might.
Then you're not missing out. PUBG.
And you're not missing out on a game.
Yeah,
you are not missing out on a whole lot.
I don't want to buy it, honestly. Like,
don't.
It's not worth it. Honestly.
Say your money is better spent.
All right, hey guys, you want my honest opinions on PUBG? That game has the most potential to be the best BR because it's not movement based; it's strategy based. It is not how fast you can get from point A to point B and shoot. It is how well you can conceal yourself and get into a position that people can't expect you, and then take them by surprise and win. Because aiming in that game is garbage, so it makes it strategy based. Now, what they decided to do, because this game is super broken. It was made by a small team, put on PC, and everybody was just kind of like, "This is amazing" because it's the only one available. The game is inherently broken and has been since launch. It has always been this broken. They launched the quote "Fix PUBG" campaign. Now, if anybody wants to guess at how much they actually fixed PUBG, please enter your number now. All right, anybody who entered higher than 0% is wrong because they did nothing. That's a higher number, so I'm gonna give you that's a no from me. -4. That's actually closer. Technically, that is closer. PUBG is really fun, but it is an inherently broken game. I would not recommend that anybody spend money on it. Do not buy it on Xbox ever. Oh my god, it's so bad.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
They pushed.
It is a mess.
Didn't
they pushed the Xbox Live before they had PC working? Like,
didn't they slap the 1.0 tag on the PC version just so they could put it on Xbox to sell it?
No, they slapped the 1.0 tag on PC just so that they could compete with Fortnite.
Yeah.
Because Fortnite,
Fortnite's
quote, unquote,
in
came out of early
beta.
access.
That's bullshit. It clearly says early access to this day if you launch it.
So it said beta, now it says early access.
Yeah.
Oh, motherfucker.
So it came out of beta, was their thing.
So here's the thing: they'll never come out of.
I
early
hate
access.
video games.
Was it Blackout that came out?
Corporations
No.
and shit.
Blackout.
Now
There's
I
a
hate
reason
how
for Fortnite sitting in early access. And it's nothing to do with PC. It has everything to do with console.
It's because they want to be able to update it regularly.
Yeah, it's how console and mobile systems work because they have strict requirements that if a game is finished, if any updates that go to the game have to go through this rigorous process that costs a lot of money.
Can I really quickly point out that this problem is also almost solely on the side of
consoles.
Yes,
Sony.
Specifically
Specifically Sony.
Sony
only
quite a bit of money for it.
Sony only allows a certain amount of updates per month for your game.
Yeah.
It does not matter if it is a life-saving update that will breathe new life into your game or if you are patching a weapon.
Yep. And they charge you for
only allow, and they charge you to go through the process. They charge you if it's wrong. Like Xbox, on the other hand, is being very, very kind to these developers, especially because they're building up a huge indie population.
Oh, and there's the other thing. Let's say you submit an update to your game. Sony reserves the right to refuse the update to your game. Now, the way around that is that if you have a game that's in beta or early access, Sony allows you to update the game at your leisure without charging you, without the review process, because your game is, quote, not finished. So Fortnite is sitting in this mode of early access because of this reason. Every BR is sitting in access, like early access or beta,
makes sense.
because of this reason.
Apex isn't.
It's just
Apex
Sony
isn't
being
getting as
Sony
many
at this point.
updates. Man, I do want to talk about like the Fortnite like dev stuff in a minute if we still have time, because it's actually really interesting.
I mean, yeah.
But because there was a huge thing that just came out about that. But also I will actually be playing Fortnite for Clips for Kids because playing that game seriously makes me want to commit Sudoku. And I'm really bad at math problems. So what we're going to do is we're just going to play it as non-seriously as possible.
I might be in because I know I'm going to be playing with you guys a lot this week, hopefully. Anyway, like it'd be a fun time just for.
We actually had this conversation yesterday while we were playing something. I think it was Uno. We were talking about we were playing Battlefront 2. Fortnite can be really fun, but they don't cater to their competitive community at all because they are just dumb.
There's a reason they don't cater to the competitive community. The competitive community doesn't make the money. It's the insanely huge casual base that makes them their money.
But the problem is that the game won't stay relevant if they don't keep their competitive community up.
But the thing is, they have such a user base now that might actually not matter.
So
they might have reached saturation point, right, where they don't care because it doesn't matter as much. Plus, as much money as Fortnite makes Epic, Epic makes a lot of money anyway.
Epic makes oodles of money. But no, so basically with Fortnite is what we were saying is they keep adding stuff for the sake of being ridiculous and trying to play both sides, that they are playing for their casual consumer who just wants to meme around, and that they are working for their actual they're working for their competitive community, which there's a very large Fortnite competitive community for good reason. As a competitive game, it is very fun to watch and it's very interesting to play. Now, the problem being here that they just keep changing the meta literally every week, and nobody likes that.
Yeah. Nobody ever gets a time to settle, and
pros don't like that because they have no time to practice, right?
Yeah.
According to a lot of pros, if you want to play Fortnite semi-successfully, you need it to be like a part-time job.
Yeah.
Because
you have to spend so much time in it. Because every week you have to retrain there's new guns, there's new effects, there's new blah blah blah. These guns are gone. These ones have been buffed. These ones have been nerfed. Like there's so much just to go back over again. Plus, you have to keep up your normal building skills, your normal shooting skills, all that kind of stuff. The loot is now spawning in if it's been changed or whatnot. The map has changed. There's just too much. All they really
Epic
need to do
even maintain all of that.
Nope. And all they really need to do is go, here's a mode. We're gonna call it comp mode.
And remove the BS.
We're gonna remove. It's not gonna get all the wacky stuff that gets put in, like the Avengers and stuff like that. It's not gonna get that. Its weapons get updated every 3 months.
Wait, you ready for this? You ready for this? No. Here's what it is. You have a season where you set the rules, and then you have a mid-season change that players can vote on.
Yeah.
Your problem is solved. There's your comp mode. You're welcome, Epic. Hire sub-op.
Yeah, just put it to a 4-month season. 2 months in, there's a vote, and that's the effect for the next two months. As well as besides the vote for the effects that change, you have your normal balancing issues that take place at that point. And there's 3 seasons a year. That's it. Go.
And that's so much easier to handle. Also, like the way Epic is doing things right now is honestly terrifying.
Well, right now they've shifted their attention somewhat because they did just purchase Rocket League.
Did you read the article about Epic?
It's interesting. Their best bet, having purchased Rocket League, and I know there's a lot of contentions like, are they going to leave it on Steam? Are they going to support stuff on Steam? Because on PC, all the stuff you have unlocked and whatnot is linked to your Steam account, which is very strange. But makes sense considering that it was a small team that made this game originally.
Yeah.
So Epic's best bet is to migrate all of that stuff from Steam's system onto their own server system, and then put the game on Epic and cut Steam out completely, 100%. So if you want to play this game, you now have to log into Epic.
What's funny is they said they're not doing that.
I know, but that would make the most sense for them to do. And as much as I'm saying we're not doing that, I can see them doing that in the background because that process takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you they're working on it, and they'll announce we're moving everything to Steam, migrating it over. All your stuff is automatically going to be moved over for you, and when you move, we're going to give you this bonus thing for moving. That's what I see happening there. And just cutting Steam out because Steam is a competitor for them.
So the reason I don't think they'll do that is honestly just goodwill. They are running out of goodwill with every community that they are in right now.
And they don't care.
Oh, they better. They better care, honestly. Like there's so much wrong happening that Epic is dealing with or not dealing with on the other side of that. Like they're using their employees as completely expendable.
Which is every developer.
Did you read the article about how Epic is using their employees?
Yeah, but that's literally every tech developer. That's not just an Epic thing. That's
Epic. No, so that Crunch is an every game developer thing. Crunch is an every developer thing in any form of media.
Almost every developer, game wise or technology wise, has Crunch. And almost everyone treats their employees like crap.
The problem is that Epic has constant crunch.
Yes,
they have engineered
because they have constantly stuff going on.
Which is the problem. They have engineered their game that they need to update it every week.
Yes.
And that they cannot fall behind is the issue.
But the thing is,
their bosses aren't letting that happen.
In that industry, it's either you buck up and do it, or they replace you with someone who's younger and just out of school who's willing to do so.
For cheaper as well. They do it for cheaper.
And
because
that's the industry. Until the industry changes, until the people who in the industry
game devs unionize.
Yeah. Until that happens, of some way of like game devs unionizing, or just, devs, like tech devs in general unionize, that's not going to change because nobody's going to force them to. There's always someone willing to replace you. So
yeah,
but I can't blame the companies for using people like that because people are willing to do it. Like, it's not like the company is, going up to some random guy in the street, pointing a gun at their head and said, "You're going to do this or we're going to kill you." They're going, "Here's a job in the field you want to work in, and that you can use as a stepping stone to get a better job later if you. It's up to you to take it." And people are like, "Yeah, of course I'm going to take that. This is what I want to do." Like, a lot of starting
Dale,
jobs.
are you browsing Twitter right now?
Nope.
So now I have worked for billion-dollar companies, right? That's my part of my background.
Maybe, allegedly.
So let me. So having come from that, I can tell you, there's lots of people who want to move into the industry. There's want to move to these companies, and it is cutthroat at these places. Like 100%, it's either you get ahead by stepping on other people or being better than other people, or you burn out and don't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's the problem, is all that burnout.
Yeah, and
it's
burnout
so
is a thing in every industry. Like every industry, like it's a thing. Like people get burnt out, they get replaced. It's just kind of the pace of a lot of the professional world nowadays.
And if you don't think that burnout exists for your job, that moment that you started going into work with a dead look in your eyes and not caring, you were burnt out. It does not matter if you were flipping burgers for minimum wage or if you are working a 9-to-5 job at a desk. The moment you walk in with like wanting to die, you are burnt out.
Yeah, as soon as you go into a job where you're like, I really don't want to be here. I feel so bad being here. Even if it's something, that you used to didn't care about or that you love, you're suffering from burnout. It's very common. Almost everybody goes through it.
What if it's just your wake-up face? Then you have deeper issues.
So, Jesus. As much as them burning people, it's the thing. Like,
yeah.
But as much as it's goodwill to keep it on Steam, I don't think they care, and I don't think they should care because Steam is their direct competitor because they've started their own store, and they're kind of trying to force Steam's hand a lot in some ways, such as saying we'll stop with our exclusive stuff and buying exclusives, which they can really afford to do if Steam gives devs a better
fair cut. I love that they did that. I love it because
it's such a dick move, and it's such a good move to make because it's like, look, we'll stop doing this thing you hate. People are like, oh, that's awesome. If they stop doing this thing that fucks over the game industry, and people are like, oh, that should be an easy choice for them to do them, and Valve's like, yeah, we're not doing that. What are you talking about?
Valve won't do it.
No, they won't. And Epic knew that from the get-go.
There's no reason.
Here's the thing. It's not even greed. They literally can't stop. Like, they literally, by law, cannot do that.
Wait, really?
Here's the little tidbit about U.S. corporations. U.S. corporations, if you're a corporation, you are required by law to make the most money you possibly can. That's a thing. You have to make the most money for your shareholders. Now, Valve's
a private company.
It's a private company, but people still probably own shares in the company, right? There's probably parts of the company. So they still have to make as much money as they can.
I don't believe that applies because that law applies for public companies where stocks are traded, because that prevents companies from
there's probably similar laws in place. So they're not going to stop and go, yeah, we can make less money. What company does that? What company goes, let's make less money when we don't have to? You got to remember,
who does that? Nintendo does that.
Nintendo's weird.
Nintendo is on the top for a reason. Also, somebody in my chat is saying it's not applicable in Valve's case, and it's near impossible to prove, even if it was.
That's the thing. It is near impossible to prove, except in a case like something like this, right, where they obviously did something that would cut massively into their profits. That's not difficult to prove at that point. That's extremely easy to prove.
Yeah, but
that's taking less money than you were taking before. And why were you doing that? You can't say public relations at that point because public relations is not worth that much money. As someone who works in advertising, I can tell you it's not.
Yeah, Turkey, I like you. I like you because you're saying the things I'm thinking right now.
The thing is, they have to make as much money as they can. They have no reason not to. And frankly, Valve pretty much has a monopoly on PC sales, right? It's the amount of, percentage of the market they own is to the point where I'm severely shocked your government never stepped in and said, hey, you have a monopoly, you need to stop.
It's because they, as much as they have a monopoly, they don't. Like,
goodwill has value, yes.
Goodwill has a lot of value.
Only up to a point. The thing
is why there are developers that I will always support and developers I will never support.
Literally, goodwill has value. I know that. Again, I work in marketing. I've worked in marketing for billion-dollar companies. I'm aware of how much goodwill is worth. But Valve doesn't answer to anybody, and they
And
have
Valve
an
is a bunch
almost
of shit.
complete monopoly on sales. Goodwill means jack fuck to them because of that. They don't care if you hate them. You have to go to them to buy certain things. That's all that matters. If they're the only place to go, to the point where people are screaming and boycotting stuff if it's not on their store, they don't give a fuck about Goodwill. Period. That's how that works.
Yeah, pretty much.
Until someone comes along like Epic who can force them, to take steps otherwise, Valve is not going to do anything to give people a better cut. They're not going to do anything to fix the issues they have on their platform. They're not going to, make things better for developers or for end users. They're just not. They're not throwing money at Steam to improve things constantly because they don't
They're
have
not throwing
to.
money at Steam, period.
No, they just don't have to. So what's the point of doing something if you don't have to? It's a waste of money.
Yeah,
They're the only people in the game, right? At that point. And now Epic's come along and said, look, we're going to launch our own store. They're not spending money. That's the thing. Period. They're not. They're not making games, really. And they're not putting money into Steam. They're just kind of hoarding and sitting on their money.
Also, I just want to point out that Epic has done so much like goodwill work
Yeah,
for
They
not
have.
only for like gamers but for developers. Like they have released so many assets for free use.
Yeah,
Not like
you can use
not
their
like-
engine for free.
Yeah, like they take a very very small cut if you actually use it and make something.
If you make a product you have to that you're selling, they take a cut of it, and the cut
Well,
depends
that happens, but
on what you're doing. But if you want to use the Unreal Engine to learn it, you don't have to buy it.
yeah,
They give it
it's
away
amazing.
for free, and on top of that, they give out courses on how to use it and make shit in it for free. Are you fucking kidding me? Like,
oh my god,
the
guys!
amount that is worth, like monetary value wise, is insane. And it, especially for Unreal, where it's like the best engine in use, right? It's the best one you can pick from. It's the one people want to use, unless you're EA and they want everybody to use their own one, which is a whole other can of worms.
Let's not talk about that garbage.
But let's not go into that. But
yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole.
as I said, that's a whole other can of worms.
Well, let's not jump.
But they
in that
give this stuff
foxhole.
away for free. Like Epic's doing a lot of stuff that people are like, oh, they made their own store. I don't want to use their store. It's like, oh, their store lacks features. What features? Well, all the things that Steam has. How many of those features do you actually use? I know a lot of people who just use Steam to go, I open Steam, launch game. That's it. Like,
Yeah,
and buy
that's all I
stuff
ever
from the
do.
store.
I
Like,
don't even open Steam. I just launch from the desktop. I don't even care.
and yes, I remember.
Turtle, I like you
I'm
so
old
much.
enough.
I love you so much right now.
So I'm in my later 30s. So I'm old enough to remember when PC gaming was all by disc. I remember when Steam launched. I remember when gamers were screaming,
Bloody murder.
bloody murder about the fact that they are not going to be able to
gaming on
get discs
PC is
anymore.
over.
Gaming on PC is over. They have to buy stuff online. They're not going to have the disc. What happens if something goes wrong?
Half-Life
Like,
2 is a
what if
dead
it's
game because you have to
closed?
install Steam to play it.
Like I have to install this thing to play this game. That's bullshit.
That's
I
what
remember
happened when
all
Half-Life
that
2
stuff.
came out, and everyone had to install Steam in 2006.
Yeah.
And
a lot of these
now,
complaints- and now, if you don't put your game on Steam, people bitch about it. It's like,
See,
you
that's the
also
thing,
now we're getting.
That's why I really don't.
Xbox.
I think Epic will be totally fine in the long run because everyone will always throw a fit when it first comes out,
Mhm.
and
Oh, they're
then
gonna be fine.
yeah, they'll be fine because
A lot of
Epic
their
will
issues
improve their
that-
store and it will become better and it will become a part of everyday PC gaming life.
And you got to remember, a lot of the issues they had, and this is evidence again when, Borderlands 3 was announced it's going to be an Epic exclusive, from security and stuff like that. It's like, oh, their security keeps getting hit and stuff like that. Yeah, it's people who are pissed off that they're going against Steam, who are hitting them with stuff. The
And
same
even
thing happens when Borderlands 3 was announced.
Let's not forget that Steam has a very not good track record
Yeah.
of keeping your stuff secure.
They do not. And people are like, oh, well, Tencent owns part of Epic. Okay, Tencent owns
Tencent
part of
also
almost
owns
everything.
Discord, Ubisoft, they own
Activision
the
Blizzard.
company. They own the
Um,
Activision Blizzard, the company that makes Path of Exile, who is your alternative for
Yeah, they own
Activision
100% of them. They just bought them outright. They own
Yeah.
the PUBG guys. They own part of that. Like pretty much every major player, Tencent owns a part of, as well as a shit ton of companies you've never heard of, because that's the type of company they are. They're a financing company. They go around buying and investing in companies, making money from it, and investing in more companies. They own part of, like they have a deal with Bungie as well, for crying out loud. Like
they didn't buy Bungie, but they invested.
They invested in Bungie, and that's what they do with most places. Very, very, very seldom they actually straight up buy a company. Usually they don't, because they don't want to run a company.
It's harder to run a company than
they
to
don't
just
want to run your
invest in it.
company. They want to give you money for you to run your company and make them money. That's what they want to do. That's all Tencent does. They're not this evil, Chinese conspiracy company that are collecting your. They're doing that. They'd have all your information from Discord.
Also, remember Steam leaked like everyone's information like a year ago?
Okay.
Or, like a year and a half ago over the summer.
Let's do this. So, if you're an American, and this affects probably about 80 to 90% of you, if you pay taxes and you use one of two major things for your credit scores, your information, including your name, your address, phone numbers, employment history, your social information from the government, all that stuff, was leaked.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
Hundreds of
100%.
millions of people. And they didn't tell you for months. That's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
You don't see people screaming about that. And
no, they screamed about it for 3 days and then moved on because it didn't affect them as much as they thought it did.
And here's the thing. If you called those companies to go, what the hell? And, we're worried about, your identity being stolen because you actually have, money and stuff like that, and people may want to do.
Oh, I don't.
They offered you the ability to go, well, here's protection for identity theft you can buy. Ignore this little clause down here in the fine print that says, if you agree to this identity protection, you absolve us of all wrongdoings and liableness, even though there's lawsuits going on that are going to hold us accountable for, the billions of dollars of shit we've caused people. So
that's why, hey kids, always read the fine print. Like, it may seem like an extra effort, but 5 minutes is worth $5,000 half the time.
Like, your information is out there. If you use the internet, you buy stuff on.
Yeah, it's either
if you have ever used PayPal, if you have ever used whatever Visa crap they have now, if you've ever used Venmo, any of the money transfer services, your information is out there.
And people hack them all the time.
You can't.
It's not to scare people, and it's not to people.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not to throw people off, not to scare you. It's basically say, look, be smart about stuff. If you're going to buy stuff online, set up a PayPal. That goes through a credit card. So that's 2 layers of protection there. Set up 2-factor identification on both things. Set up 2-factor identification on your Epic, right? That's multiple layers of security, and you're going to be good. Like, if something happens, you have steps to take that you can prevent this stuff. Like, stop. It's not a huge deal.
I have had my card taken. Like, me and Kaylee both have. And you know what? It was a 10-minute conversation on the phone with the bank, and it was fixed. Yeah, they gave me my money back. I wasn't accountable for any of it. The only thing I had to deal, the inconvenience was having to wait a few days while they mailed me a new card. I didn't have a card for those few days. It's like, oh, okay.
It's not
no
that
big
hard.
Deal.
Like, and it's a little different for people up here in Canada because our banking system's a little different. Same thing with our credit cards and debit cards. They work a little bit different than you guys. Which means when I go down to the Guardian Con, I'm doing everything in cash. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, no, like you need to have cash.
Well, I have to. I don't have an American bank account. I don't have an American bank, right? I can't use debit or stuff like that.
Also, hey, everybody, we're announcing Copper is going to Guardian Con. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I am officially going before Dale.
We tricked him into going.
Dale's not super happy.
Of course I'm happy that you're going. Copper.
It wasn't so much like a tricking. For me, it was like I always had the money to go because I'm an adult. I have a couple grand in the bank just sitting there.
Man, what's that like? I am an adult, though. I know how that is.
So I have some savings. So I always could pay for it. It was a matter of, do I want to pay for this out of the savings when I know the coming year is going to be kind of tight? because like I know for a fact the rest of like coming in August of 2019 to like the end of like May 2020 is going to be kind of a tight year for me. Just financially wise, because the girlfriend's in school, she's not going to be working, stuff like that. So it's going to lower, income and stuff. So like, do I want to spend the money? And it's like, well, this is a good way to go have a bit of fun, to meet some friends in person, which is great. To have a bit of a vacation, which is something I haven't had in a large number of years. Even if it is Florida in July, which being from the north is probably going to make me melt.
He's from
You know
Canada.
what? I will get
die.
to give you so much crap about. Oh man, is it too hot?
It will be too hot. Thankfully, I believe I'm staying on the resort itself, so I never actually have to go outside. I am still going to find it too warm. Just so you know.
You will go outside at one point, and it will be too warm, and we'll completely agree with you because it's humid as hell there.
Yes, so I gotta like go out and buy like shorts and stuff like that because
you need to buy summer clothes.
but
Listen, if Copper doesn't walk up wearing like a tank top and like Ray-Bans and drinking a smoothie with a bendy straw, specifically a bendy straw, wearing
I love bendy straws. This is a note.
Wearing like swim trunks and flip-flops or sandals, either one's fine. I will riot if that is not my image. If that's not what I get, I will be mad. I want Copper ready for the beach, and I want him to be just pale as hell because he's stood.
Okay, I am pale. I don't exactly tan. Like
Neither
the last time I went to Florida, I spent pretty much a week outside, like 8 to 10 hours a day. I was out in the sun. I never tanned slightly, like not even a little bit.
I only tan after I get sunburned.
Well, there's the thing. I don't typically burn either. I just don't change color. I'm like permanently like Snow White. It's weird.
See, that's more annoying to me because I burn very easily. I've gotten 3rd-degree burns from the sun before. If you're asking, don't you mean 2nd-degree burns? I mean, no. I went and saw a doctor, and they told me, "Oh my God, you have 3rd-degree burns from the sun. How did you do this?"
So I'm gonna just quickly post something in Discord for you there, Comp.
Sure. Where is this post? Oh, it's
you'll see it. I tagged you. So I'm considering getting one of these made for Guardian Con.
What the heck is that Teen Thalion one?
So that's actually a picture of Goth as a teenager.
I see that. Wait, what is Kevin holding up?
That is a knife and fork. That is a picture of Kevin eating pizza with a knife and fork.
Wasn't that the pizza with pineapple on it as well?
I believe it had pineapple on it as well. That is Kevin eating a pineapple pizza with a knife and fork.
That is great. I'm very excited for.
I'm sure Kevin would be. I'm sure Kevin would be proud of that. Us having a picture of that.
Or we could just go the super easy low hanging fruit route. Like just a T-shirt that says "This is my ticket" on it.
They have made those before, but
I'm also worried about so overplayed, and it's not really funny.
It isn't. Lawless got timed out in Kevin's chat the other day from that joke.
Nice.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, there's a difference between a funny joke that is like, haha, whatever. Like when people tell me about like the worm form memes, like I still think it's funny. I play along with it because it's funnier when I do. There are jokes like my T-shirt is my ticket, which actually stemmed from conflict and is not funny to the person who is involved with it, but it is funny to everyone else. So I can make that joke with you guys or with Red, but I won't make it to Kevin because it's
you know what? It's gonna be funny, like the jokes Copper keeps making about me going to Guardian Con.
Oh man, yeah.
So if anybody remembers, Broman used to make a couple of jokes about making alcohol because they own the coffee company, right?
Yeah.
And he's considered making a whiskey and a vodka, and someone had mentioned a couple of names. So,
oh my God, please tell me.
Me being me, one of them is this.
Oh my Lord. It's beautiful. We can't wear that outside though. We
I
cannot
know,
wear that
I
outside.
cannot wear that. That's the thing. I considered it, but I'm like a little too on the for Garden Con because there are kids there. So I'm like, I can't do that one as much as I would love.
Yeah, that's
As much as I would love that one, that's a oof one.
that
right?
was was that the vodka?
So that's the vodka.
Yeah, it's the
and
vodka. And then what was the? I know it was like the opposite meme, but I forget exactly what it was.
Hold on, I'll grab
But
there's the whiskey one. I am going to grab the whiskey one for you. Just give me
the joke was they make a vodka and a whiskey, and the vodka is called wet pussy. So when girls go to get a drink with vodka, they ask for wet pussy.
Beautiful.
That is the joke as told on the jam. This is not me making something up for shits and giggles, even though I think it's hilarious. But yeah, so that was that, and then there was a whiskey that was the opposite joke,
which is Big Dick's whiskey.
It was just Big Dick's. Okay, I wasn't sure if they went more subtle than that.
They did not.
Like, but then you go like, yeah, can I get an old fashioned Big Dick? Like, or like, can I get Big Dick old fashioned? Like,
and there's the whiskey for you.
All right. Well, we have managed.
I'm definitely showing this on stream. Look at that. What face is that?
All right.
That is a topless lumberjack. That's what that is.
That's amazing.
Jesus
this
Christ.
This is the vodka one.
I know Dale's looking.
Well, we have managed to go pretty long again. So
yeah, no, we
it's
actually
okay.
this was a good episode. Good time.
Yeah.
I
It's good time. We actually talked about anime for over an hour on the anime podcast.
Oh my gosh, we were so good about
we
it. We
nailed it. Also,
we
I
had a
recently
lot
learned
to compare between these two shows because they are very similar in a lot of ways.
I did such a good job at forcing you guys to have a good episode. I'm so proud of me.
Wow.
One
good
day
job.
you'll get there.
Forced us. All right. So next week we're going to be talking about Demon Slayer. I don't know how to pronounce it in
Kimetsu no
Japanese.
Yaiba.
Yeah, what
Thank
Comfy
you.
said. Speaking of, where can people find Mr. Comfy on the internet?
Well, hi guys, my name is Comfimus, and if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Comfimus, on Instagram at Comfimus, and on Mixer at mixer.com/Comfimus. And should I do shameless plugs here? Is this where I do shameless plugs?
That's the
You can
point
do
of it.
shameless
Yeah.
plugs here. Yeah.
Hey guys, do you ever feel like you're playing games, but you need a little bit of like a boost, but you don't want to like drink a Monster Energy or a Red Bull?
Oh
You feel like
man,
that's
all the
too much?
time. I'm always
Man,
tired playing
do I
video
have,
games.
like actually like really good supplement. It's Advanced GG. They have a supplement called Focus. It's very good. It's very good for you. It's all natural. I highly recommend it. You can use my code at !focus, code Comfimus for 10% off at checkout. You're welcome. Thank me later though, because you need to buy it first.
Someday he'll have panels, and you'll be able to click on panels.
I have the panels. I just don't know how to use them. I don't know how to make them happen. I have like literally 1 second. I'm just gonna
I know
pull
you
up my
have panels.
files.
I'm aware you have panels.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have my Comfimus folder inside my Comfimus folder inside my Comfy folder. Just because this is how I do my things. Also, this Comfimus folder is literally just the Comfimus folder. Assets. We have panels.
You just haven't set them up yet? Oh man. Okay.
Okay. To be fair, do you know how to do it in Mixer?
They're not terribly hard.
I mean,
Um,
I used to have
Dale has, well, he has a big image now.
I used to have panels though. I changed it to that.
But,
Anyway, Copper, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Copper Lion Designs and Copper Lion Art on Instagram and Twitter, as well as Copper Lion here. That's it for me, though I am working on my web.
You're cutting out,
Go soon.
Copper.
I said
Discord is-
I'm working on my website because I need to get that done before Guardian Con. Up and
Gotcha.
running.
That's a good plan.
yeah, great.
Because I need to have that for my business cards, which I also need to get made.
I need to print out some business cards as well. That is on my to-do list. I made some scuffed ones when I was.
I know somewhere you can get them for pretty good price, design-wise, and they won't look scuffed.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
saying.
business cards are surprisingly cheap to print.
They are. It's just the design of them that you actually have to.
Yeah.
But
If
I'm
I
going to
could,
be
like-
running.
All right.
I'm-
So you ready for like what would be top tier if I could actually get it done? I have a business card image right here somewhere. If I could get like the like splash kind of like embossed.
Mm.
Or like so like it was like black glossy section for the logo and then flat black on the background.
You can. You need to go to an actual print shop.
Yeah, I need, but like if I can
You
get that
also-
to work properly, it'd be
you-
super top tier.
Also need to have your file set up
Yeah.
properly for print.
Yeah.
Now, at an actual print shop, if you don't have someone do that beforehand, it's going to cost you money to do.
Yes.
Assuming they know how to do it, not every print shop has a designer in house. They'll just ask you for the print ready file, so you kind of have to be careful of that. If you need help setting up your business card company, I am going to be running a special on business cards, which I
Oh, really?
yeah, because Garden Con's coming up, and I've had a couple of people. So
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
so
That is a
Um,
very smart move.
yes, so I'm going to be putting that up on Twitter for anybody who's listening and wants business cards done. I am going to be running a special on them. It's not going to cost terribly much because it's a good way for me to make some spending money for Garden Con.
Yeah,
Dale's
there you
sitting
go.
there looking completely unimpressed.
As long as you can make enough money.
Look, I'm just going to talk about how every time we try to wrap up, it seems we start plugging our shit when we're leaving, and then we get distracted on some fucking tangent, and I have to edit
Hey,
that
remember
every
when
time.
I was
So,
plugging
hey.
my advanced
Great.
GG that you can?
No,
put
no,
in
that was
exclamation
great.
point focus
That was
in the
great.
chat?
And then we all got
All right,
distracted
all right.
about other shit, which happens every
Or
time.
if,
So
if you want to
Okay.
email me, you can email me at confamous@gmail.com.
So where can people find you at, Dale?
you can find me at mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance on Instagram and Twitter _Mr. Vengeance.
And what random
that's-
thing do you want to talk about here at the end?
I just
Hi,
want to
I'm
play
Mr.
more
Vengeance.
God.
You can find me at the bottom of a very stiff drink because
I'm actually not going to edit this one out because it's funny. But no, I want to get back to God of War, so I'm going to get back to
Yes,
do
yeah, I know
that.
you plan on killing off the Valkyrie.
I have 2
don't
more
actually wanna-
Valkyries to finish. Usually I end my stream after the podcast
Yep.
on Sundays.
Oh,
but
have
we're
you
gonna-
finished the story yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
All
finished
I-
story
yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know how far along you were. That was
All right.
fast.
Anyway,
Well, it's not a long
guys,
story, really.
episode
I mean, we-
15,
Yeah, I did a
2.5
lot of exploring though.
Sorry, Dale.
episode 15, 2.5 weebs. Someday we will stop going on random tangents. Maybe we'll see.
One day we'll stop at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
One day we'll
someday.
stop an hour and people are like, what happened to
Like, yeah, someday. All right. Anyway, next week, Demon Slayer. We'll see you then. Have good weeks, everybody. Bye.